What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon. This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, with another Unpopular Opinions live. Yes, I want to say hello to my platform. Big shout outs to the customers of the Afrikansuperstar.com. Big shout outs to those of you that are members only and supporting our stream, our platform on a monthly basis. And also those of you that have sowed seeds into our music project. I want to acknowledge all of you. Yes, Unpopular Opinions Live. What's up? If you are here, please do make your presence known in the chat and greet me because I have an important topic to talk about. Lately, I've just had so many unpopular opinions. I have not been vlogging as much, obviously, because from day to day, there's not a lot of exciting things that go on in my life. I live a pretty routine life. So I've taken this time to share a lot of the unpopular opinions. Today, I want to talk about the West does not deserve the contributions, our contributions, and we should stop giving it. You see, a lot of times when people are receiving and benefiting from you, and you do not kind of put your foot down in regards to the value and the worth of that, many people will continue to exploit and take advantage. They will say, well, you know what? Gina's giving it to me for free. This can be applied in so many contexts. If you're giving away, your body, your time, your emotions, you're giving away your products, you're giving away your ideas, and you're not being compensated for them. Okay. In many cases, there are some honest people that are like, you know what? I know the value of this, and I want to give you a little something towards, whatever it is that you're contributing. But what we see in the West is richly enjoying and benefiting from our contributions as a people in their societies without even providing us just the very basic needs. I received an email the other day from a viewer, and she was asking me, how do I deal with the guilt of leaving the US behind because of my family members? And I did give her kind of a lengthy reply, but part of what I replied her was, you don't owe the West anything. If anything, the West at least owes you a safe, environment to live in. All right. Those of you that are taxpayers, you are contributing to the country that you reside in. And there are certain things that are supposed to come with that. Okay. Infrastructure, civil service, military protection, future planning. All of this is supposed to be connected to your investment. But what we see is happening with our people is we are investing, in other words, and we get no recourse. We don't even get access to the things that we're supposed to get. My advice to you in any type of situation is if you are making contributions and you're not benefiting, okay, there's nothing in it for you at all, I encourage you to rethink that agreement in that situation. You see, because the truth is, people that really love you and people that value you, they don't mind investing in you. They don't mind. But if they think that you're not worth it, they don't want to spend a dime. They don't want to spend a penny because they don't think that you're worth it. You see, even though we know, those of you here on this platform, we know for a fact there are things that's more important than money. In our society, money does hold value. And there's an implied value when that money is shared upon different entities or different people, right? So big shout out to Isesa. She's the first in the chat. So it's like when Isesa's birthday comes up, okay, and I say I want to take her for a meal. Okay, if I were to take Isesa to McDonald's, she might think, Gina doesn't really think much about me because it's my birthday. It's a special occasion. Certainly if Isesa's man, her boyfriend or husband, when her birthday comes around and he says, hey, let's go to Wendy's, get something off the discount menu. You know, a lot of times, ladies, when they're getting engaged, people will look at the wedding ring and think, okay, the bigger that it is, you know, the more expensive that it is, there's an implied value. The reality is our peers have shown us how they feel about us and what they think about us, what they think about our worth. They have shown it. If we continue to give away our contributions cheaply, they will continue to enjoy it. Shout out to the African Superstar family. Have you guys ever maybe previously been giving something to someone, you know, without discounted or cheap, or, you know, you were just free, whatever? You were giving this person something, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I kind of need to start trying to put on a price tag on this thing. And when you tell them that you want, you know, you want to be paid, you want to be compensated, they tell you, oh, I can't afford that. They're basically telling you they don't think that you're worth the cost, right? Because if they thought that you're worth the cost, they'll pay up. And they might even say, you know what? I have a friend of mine, big shout outs to her. She shops at the Afrikansuperstar.com. Okay. She doesn't even use the discount codes. She's on my email list, and sometimes I send discount codes, or sometimes there's a shipping discount code at the Afrikansuperstar.com. She doesn't even use it. One time I asked her about it, and she said, hey, I don't want, I want to contribute to your business. I'm not worried about the discount codes. I'm not worried about, your products are worth it. You see, that's an implied value. She thinks highly of me. She thinks highly of my products. She thinks nicely about my business. She doesn't mind paying the set costs. Huh? Some of you ladies out there, you guys wear the wigs, and you wear the weave and all that stuff. A lot of these foreign hairs, Malaysians and Peruvian, and all these different types, Brazilian. It's expensive hair. And you drop down hundreds to buy it. Why? Because of the implied value. Now, you can go to the hair store, you can get synthetic hair, but it's not going to last. You look at that hair like it's cheap. And many women will look at these wigs and this, these sew-on hairs, that they can use it multiple times. So it's a good investment. I talked about last night on my live stream that at a certain point, we become complicit in a situation. Because when a person shows you what time it is, when they show you their perspective on you, when they determine that, you're not worth much to them, either by opinion or deed, either the way they think about you or the way they actually treat you, at a certain point, it's not their fault. It's not their fault, because you allow it to go on. You allow the relationship to go forward. You keep fraternizing with them. You keep giving them access to you when they've already shown you, hey, I don't think much about you. And I think, honestly, this is actually the way that I've chosen to respond to the ill treatment that I dealt with in the West, is removing myself from there. Why will I keep investing? Why will I keep on living there when I know that I'm mistreated, and I know that there's the probability for recourse is very, very slim? Why would I invest, for instance, one of my most promising, assets, which would be like my children? You know what I mean? I know a lot of people don't have this perspective, but your children, your children are one of your largest assets. They are the moniker of your legacy. Okay, because when you're no more here, your children, your offspring is going to be what takes your family name on and beyond and carries the circle of life. When we see the kind of environment that our children is being provided in this West, when we see the education that they're getting, they have no protection. So many of my viewers, I've seen them express on various videos. They talk about how their children are bullied in the schools. There's nothing going on. And in some cases in America, UK, this bullying leads to fatalities, because it goes on and on and on, and nobody intervenes, and then you contact the school and the school doesn't do anything, and the situation escalates. You know, you should demand and expect at least minimum as a taxpayer, a safe environment for you and your family. Okay, because you're contributing to that entity. And I would say also boldly, and what some people would call dramatically, if you're not getting the bare necessities out of your environment, then you need to stop contributing. Put your money where your mouth is. Why keep giving to someone or something that doesn't care? You see, we live in a world where consequences is going to be what adds parameters. That's what I believe. I believe, first of all, I believe that the West is way too lax. I feel like, you know, it's a lawless land, okay, where stuff doesn't make sense. People that should be punished get away with murder, and people, you know, that might do a minimal crime or something get these huge sentences and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's a lawless, crazy place. And I think, you know, a life with more parameters is better. You know, because just because when you have access to do things doesn't mean you got to do everything that you can do. You know, real freedom is being selective as to what you engage in, determining what you want to do when you want to do it. You know, if you have 20 options in front of you and you try to involve in everything, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to overextend yourself. But if you have 20 offers in front of you and you pick 2 or 3, that creates exclusivity, because now you have more of your energy to, you know, contribute to these different directions. You know, and there's nothing worse than giving, you know, giving yourself, giving your talent, giving your products, giving your skill, and people just not appreciating it, you know, complaining about it, just taking advantage. I mean, it makes you feel kind of worthless. You know, you're giving to this person, you're giving whatever freely, and this person just takes it like it's just nothing. And I mean, I think that's the relationship that the diaspora is in. You know, the diaspora is giving, 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 giving. They have been for years. Okay. They don't want to put the price up. They don't want to require any reciprocity. They don't want to get dramatic. They don't want to put their foot down. They don't want to leave. You know, what they want is for things to just rectify themselves. Okay. But I always bring it back to nature to try to simplify things and help you guys understand. Okay. Does anybody here know the law of inertia? If you know the law of inertia, please let me see a number 1. Please engage in the chat room today, guys. I see that there's a few of you here. So please, if you know the law of inertia, let me see a number 1 in the chat. Big shout out to the Afrikansuperstar family. Okay. The law of inertia says that an object will stay in motion until something affects that object. Okay. So what that means is, like, let's say you take a ball and you roll it down the street. Okay. It's going to roll until it hits the curb, until, you know, somebody stops it, you know, it goes into the gutter or whatever. That ball is going to keep going. What that means is the dynamics as they currently are happening to our people and just in general in 2022 will continue unless it is stopped. I know that some of you guys just want the right thing to happen. Big shout out to you, so she's the only one on code in this room today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody else is something's wrong with their ears. They can't follow simple directions. I mean, and or I have an adult audience, so if you don't know the law of inertia, they've really been miseducating your behind, because that is a basic law of of science. Anyway, I know that, you know, you probably just want it to work out. You know, you just want things to go back to normal. You just want people to be honest. You just want them to be moral. You just want them to do what is right. Okay? But guys, that's not reality. Okay? That's not reality. If you've had personal relationships with people that have taken advantage of you or hurt your feelings or did whatever, it's very rare for that person to one day have an epiphany and say, you know what? I have been doing Isesa wrong all this time. I've been, not compensating her for her services. I've been not doing this and that. I haven't even been grateful. I need to. It's very rare that someone has that epiphany. Usually, when someone is made to understand that they have not been doing things correctly, it's because something has occurred that has made them have that, as my mom used to say, come to Jesus, okay? They had that come to Jesus moment, right? They got sick and they started having like a terminal illness. All of a sudden they're praying. All of a sudden, they're looking for a miracle. They weren't thinking about certain things before their illness. That someone might have a car accident or be in a problematic situation. They got a big problem. They need money. Okay. These are the things that make you have a come to Jesus moment. Now you've got this epiphany. Okay. The West is not going to have any epiphany about their relationship with our people as long as they can continue to exploit them for free. It never ceases to amaze me, for instance, like these athletic clubs and sports clubs and all this kind of stuff, the NBA, the NFL, almost entirely comprised of our people. Okay. Even those of you guys that don't watch football, otherwise known as soccer in America, the football clubs all across Europe, full of Africans. And it always boggles my mind how our people will take a small piece of the pie instead of forming their own clubs and forming their own leagues. Okay. In some cases, these athletes are going to stadiums and they're going to basketball courts and all this stuff and dealing with racist chants. Okay. As they're competing, as they are, doing something in effect for that country. But guys, you don't require people to deal with the offensive things. Because I'm telling you, let's say the black football stars in Europe, all of them or majority of them said, you know what, we are not playing in any championship game until this and that has been established. Okay. If we put up with any racist chants in a stadium or whatever, we want those people to be immediately removed and fined. If they started making demands, if the star quarterback says, hey, if I get any racist activity when I play in these matches or whatever, this is going to be my recourse. See, we have a lot of power, but we don't exercise it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the psychological damage that our people has faced because they don't even think anything of themselves to require these things to be put in place. I always tell you guys, for instance, on this channel, I will not be insulted on my own channel. I won't allow people in the chat room or comments to come into my channel, my space that I do as a community service for free and berate me. No. I wouldn't allow any caller to come on my show and argue with me or take me out of my cool demeanor. No. I have set the stage of how my social media is going to go. I remember when I first started, when my channel was kind of on my previous platform was growing a lot. I had ran into Nappy Briggs and Wodamaya here in Ghana. This was back in 2019. And I was telling Nappy how I, police the comments, like I delete inappropriate comments and block people from the channel. Okay. And he said, no, why would you do that? That's engagement. You're gonna mess up your analytics and this and that. I said, I can't be coming here on YouTube to do a good service and then be dealing with this nonsense. No. You see, but if you don't even step up and say, this is the requirements of how I'm going to operate. If you want to deal with me, this is how it needs to go down. This is all, I mean, this is really the methodology behind so many elements in my life personally. People also ask me why I don't have children. This is why. Okay? Because I need to be presented a good option to decide to embark on that journey with someone. If someone is giving me an inadequate option that I don't want, I don't have to accept it. And that's what you guys have to know. You don't have to accept being mistreated every day. You don't have to accept a racist, dangerous environment. You don't have to accept being helpless at a place that you're pouring your resources into. You don't have to accept it. It's not compulsory. And if more people said, hey, no, I'm not going to accept it. You know, they need you for your music. They need you for your money. They need you for your athleticism. They need you for your creativity. You know, we are the lifeblood of so many things. We set the trends. Everybody want to be like us. Even look at these people augmenting their bodies. It is our image that they seek to emulate. Okay? We are at the center of so many things, but yet and still we are at the bottom. Why? Because we don't put in parameters. You know, pretty soon, you know, I might be on my world tour. I can do, you know, a motivational tour at the schools and stuff like that. You better believe I'm going to send my requirement. If people contact me with potential deals, brand deals, whatever, I'm going to say, okay, this is what, this is how I operate. You tell them what it's going to be. You tell them what it's going to be, and you tell them what's going to happen if they can't make it, if they can't rise to the occasion. I guarantee with all the money that, for instance, these football clubs generate and the NBA and NFL and all this stuff, they can't afford to not be with their star players. They can't afford it. Okay? They can't afford the lost revenue from the people coming to watch the match. They can't afford the lost revenue from television showing the match. They can't afford to lose because they're not having their best players competing. You know, you've got to leverage what you have to get the things that you want. You know, and my attitude is very much like, oh, you don't value me. You don't think that what I have to offer is of any substance. Okay. Okay. Then you no longer have access. Big shout outs to the Afrikansuperstar fan. Are you guys? Okay, let me just do a mic check. Is anybody else here besides Asesa? I'll wait. Because, I mean, come on. This is crazy. I'm like 30 minutes in. Is anybody else here? Is all the viewers, are all of them Isesa? How many accounts you got? Hello? Hello? Is the Afrikansuperstar family there? What's up? This is a live stream. Oh. I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Hello? Okay, so you got 4 accounts. Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you for using all your accounts to watch my channel. You know, this topic that I'm talking about, I know that it's a bit avant-garde, you know, because a lot of times the people that are contributing and being taken advantage of, you know, they have a strong emotional attachment to whatever they've been associating with or pouring themselves into. This is definitely the relationship that, for instance, Black Americans have with America. Okay. They feel like I've been here for a long time. This is my home. I'm disconnected from any other place, you know, and they want the best. They hope for the best. Okay. But just like the law of inertia, it's not going to stop. You know, it would have been so much more convenient for me to be able to stay and matriculate in my environment back in Ohio. Okay. But the fact that I was requiring a certain quality of life and it was unavailable in America, it was unavailable in the UK, is what forced me to continue to keep pursuing it. I absolutely refused you know, to be mistreated and stay stagnant. I absolutely refuse. You know, because obviously you guys know I've shared my opinion many times on the chat. Guys, if you're here, please say hello. Golly, I just don't get it. It's annoying to me. Please, if you're here, say hello. It's driving me up a wall. Thank God. Lord have mercy. Obviously, you guys know I have expressed that I'm a creature of reciprocity. Okay. So what that basically equates to is, you know, you can't do this to me. You can't do this to me. You can't mistreat me and then I can't respond to that. No. You can't mistreat me and then tell me that's how it's going to be. And I can't be in my 20s and come to this conclusion and that's how it's going to be. So let's say my lifespan is like 80, 85 years, 90 years. So I'm now 21 and I'm getting this realization and that's just how it's going to be. No, it cannot go on. You know? And I think if more of us took this approach, you know, sometimes you have to let go of the people that you've been pouring into. You've been pouring into them because you have an implied value. Okay? You think they're special. You think it's valuable. A lot of Black Americans feel like America's valuable. This is the place to be. This is, you know, my home. This is the greatest nation on the world, or whatever they believe in. And so they've been just investing themselves. But what are you getting back? What are you getting back? They don't even provide you yet the basics. The way that they respond to you is an indicator that they don't think that you have any worth at all. So that's the answer when people say, well, you know, how can they just kill these Black people? It's not fair. And how come they don't take the officers? Because they don't think that you are worth anything. They don't think you're worth anything. And if you believe in yourself and you understand, no, I'm valuable. I'm a valuable contributing member of society. And at the most minimum, I'm valuable to my family. I'm valuable to my mom, dad, my kids. I'm valuable to my community. I'm valuable to the future. You know, make yourself understand that nobody can just be mistreating you, treating you anyhow, and refuse to keep pouring yourself into that situation once you identify. You know, there was a person who I loved. Oh my God, to the max. Would do anything, would give anything. There came a day when he stopped reciprocating that love. Okay. Now, at first, my natural inclination was, I need to make him understand how much I love him, how deep this is for me. I need to make him understand. But I realized that his behavior, his response to me was saying that he no longer valued me in that particular way. And although the love was deep for me, the love wasn't deep for him. So I had to remove myself from that situation. You know, I had to stop giving him access to all the things that I had been giving and sharing. I had to stop doting on him and sharing the, you know, the love and all the things that I was giving, because the implied value, you know, and it is hard to break away sometimes. It's hard. You know, you have to be very innovative to figure out, for instance, how the hell you're going to get out of the West. But, you know, at the end of the day, the more you invest, the more difficult it's going to be. The longer you take, the harder it is. And again, the ball has been set in motion for these things to continue. Big shout outs to the 2 viewers that I have today. Brown Coat Blue, I see you there. Brown Coat Blue says, I'm with you. You reach a point when a decision has to be made. Either you decide to do it or you do not deserve better. You know, and why our people have not come to that conclusion that it's time to change course is beyond me, because I came to that conclusion a very long time ago. You know, when I first started working in the corporate environment, I said to myself, it hit me like a ton of bricks one day. I was sitting in there, you know, and I remember me and my sisters, my mom has had a very dear family friend named Miss Mary. This shout outs to Miss Mary. Rest in peace, Miss Mary. And sometimes she would come over to my mom's house, or we would go to Miss Mary's house. And my mom and Miss Mary, they worked for they worked at the state of Ohio together. And they would just be talking about work and what happened and their boss and all this stuff. And so, I had constantly heard that over the years, constantly. So I remember one day when I was working at JP Morgan Chase, that's where I used to work professionally, one of the jobs I held in the US. And I remember that I kind of went through something, and it just jogged all the memories. It just jogged all the memories of listening to my mom and Miss Mary. And I said, oh my God, it's now happening to me. This is something that my mom has gone through. Her peers have gone through. I remember stories from my grandmother, you know what I mean? Telling me stories of racism. My grandparents actually went through the civil rights movement in the US. So I remember, all those instances came to me, and I said, oh my God, this is about to be my life unless I do what? Change course, because it's already been ongoing. I'm not trying to be morbid, but a lot of you guys, the likelihood of you living past a century is very, very slim. Your lifetime is a measurable thing. Okay? So if you think to yourself, let's just talk about the 400 years plus of slavery that went on, the transatlantic slave trade. 400 good years or more. We don't actually have all the details, all the actual specific details. So I say 400 plus. You don't got 400 years. And guess what? 400 plus years and still no change on the behalf of the West and how they interact and treat our people. So guess what? Guess what? What you see is what you get. If you don't like what you see, you better change course. Because the likelihood of that thing changing, the likelihood of that thing changing in your lifetime is not likely. It's not probable. I gave an example last night about I love these laws of nature, because that's how I govern life. I don't really get involved into semantics. I just look at nature and how nature functions. Okay. So last night I talked about, my views on forgiveness and why I think it's futile, because of, for every action, there's a reaction. That's also another law. Okay. Those of you that somehow think that you are not, that doesn't apply to you, you are above the laws of nature, because that is how it works. For every action, there's a reaction. It's definitive. Okay? The law of inertia is also another definitive fact. Are you also above that? So you think that the ball that's been in motion for centuries and has impacted several of your generations is suddenly going to change in your lifetime? A lifetime, might I add, that some of us are probably a third into or a half into, at least by now. And we haven't seen any change yet from our youth into adulthood. And there's not even any vehicle, there's not even any infrastructure that has been developed to address these issues. The likelihood of things changing in the West in regards to our quality of life and how we're treated, again, it's not probable. And some of you guys might say, well, Gina, that's just negative. Let's just hope for the best. Well, you can go on and hope for the best, but I like to get into probabilities. Okay. I'm a realist. I want to just know, okay, what's the probability of this thing going how it goes? And if I deduce that the probability is not high, then I'm probably going to take a different mode of action. You see, I'm living my best life here in Ghana, not because I left it up to, chance. If I left things up to chance, I'd still be back in Ohio. I'd still be back in Columbus. You know, at the time I lived in Columbus, I was very active at a church called Living Word Church. Okay. I had been attending that church for 7 years. And to be honest with you, every single Sunday, I would come in the church and I would sit there and I would listen to the message. I loved, my pastor. I loved my church family there. And, the burning question that I always had was, how exactly am I going to get from here to the life that I really honestly want to live? And at that time, I didn't have any example of the life that I was hoping to live, because those that were examples in my life were all, doing what I was doing, and or their goals were not my goals. Most of the people that I was surrounded by in the US were doing the American dream, we're doing the 9 to 5, we're doing limited travel. I thought to myself, this is not what I want. This is not how I want to live. And it wasn't until I took initiative and kind of, manifested this life and created this life. One of the biggest things, I'll tell you guys some of the things that I wanted to accomplish in my life. Thank you guys again for Brown Coat Blue and Isesa. I mean, they're the only two people here. Big shout outs to my duet of African Superstar viewers. I see you guys there, because everybody else can't get it together. They can't follow simple directions. This is also another supporting argument about why things are not going to change. You can't even get people to cooperate on the most basic minimal. What's so hard about liking the stream and greeting me in the chat? You want to come and watch me, you don't want to be identified. Why? Are you here on scandalous business? Is that why you want to be here? You don't want me to know who's here? That's why, guys, for my progressive people, please, please, please entertain your options in a much larger scale. Because in reality, a lot of your peers that you're probably trying to also interact with, they ain't even ready for it. And if you're sitting there waiting like, okay, let me just get a couple people to get on board with me, the story continues. Some of the things that I really wanted to do was wake up in the mornings with no alarm clock. Okay. That was like in my top 5, because a lot of you guys that are doing, the corporate job and stuff, or maybe you train in the morning. I used to go to the gym before I went to work. That had to be at work at 8 o'clock. So I was getting up at like 5 o'clock every morning. Okay. Hitting the gym from 6 to 7, coming home, getting ready for work, setting off around, 7:15 to get to my office at 8. I wanted to wake up when my body wakes up. And also have the option, if I wake up and I'm tired, that I can roll back over and go back to sleep. I also wanted freedom to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. Oh yeah, today's a beautiful day. I want to go out to the sea. I also want to wear my clothes. Okay, without a dress code. If I want to wear a mini skirt on a Tuesday with high heels, that's what I want to do. Okay, I wanted to live be respected. Stop being put in a box, stop being minimalized, and stop, being prohibited from being myself. I wanted to world travel, and I wanted to have the ability to travel more than a week or 2 out of a calendar year. And I couldn't also understand that I'm spending all my time, especially you guys do daylight savings time in the US and the UK. Certain seasons, you legit spend all the sunlight hours at the workplace, because when you leave for work, the sun is not up yet. And by the time you get off work, the sun has set. And so literally you're giving out, the core of your day on a repetitive basis to someone else's dream, someone else's company. And at the end of the day, they can sack you. And it was almost like you never existed. And, all these things were what was spinning in my head. And I thought, I just don't want the life that I'm living. And I want something else. I want something else that I don't even see or know exists. But what I came to a conclusion is this can't be life. The life that I was living. I thought, I'm not born to go punch the clock at somebody's job. You know, that's not Gina's purpose. And now as I look way down the line, you know, I started really kind of having a lot of these thoughts, probably I'd say around 2013, 14, I started traveling a little bit more internationally. And I thought, man, I'm going to London and I can only stay for like maybe 2 weeks. And, you know, that wasn't enough. I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do. I want to go, you know, to these other places. You know, I was looking at some trips to Asia and I'm like, okay, the flight alone is like 14 hours, 24 hours. How am I supposed to do this? And then I only can get a week, you know? So now that I live this life, you know, I live a very flexible life. I live a very unconventional life, a very customized life. It's amazing. My friends remark, wow, Gina, you look great. You look rested. You're happy. Absolutely. I don't wake up to an alarm clock. Only time I have an alarm clock is, ironically, when I travel to the West. I used to wear a watch every single day. Now I don't. Half the time I don't know what day of the week it is, you know, except for Thursdays, because that's when my weekend starts, and or the time. I can kind of gauge it by the sunlight. Now, so I tell you guys all this to say, to let you know that you do have an ability to change the dynamics around you. And if you're contributing where you're not valued and it's been ongoing, unfortunately, the burden of proof is going to be on you. As long as you allow them to exploit you and minimalize you and basically, you know, treat you as if you are worthless, I mean, they're going to continue unless you stop it. You know, and I know it's a test a lot of y'all don't really want to have that test, because you know at the end of the day that if you step out there, they're also going to confirm it, because some of you guys know that they don't love and care you and don't value you. Or if it's a personal relationship, you don't really want to get out there and say it, because when they tell you, okay, you tell them, well, look, this is the ultimatum. We've been living together a couple years. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And they say, well, I'm not ready. You know, at that point, you got to make the next move. You don't want to make that move. So you hold back on making it. Okay. You don't want to ask the US if they care about you, if they love you, if they're going to miss you if you leave, because you know the answer. You know the answer. They've already demonstrated the answer. You know, it's partially when it comes to the West and it comes to us, there's a couple things that weigh in. First of all, when you ask these hard questions, they don't think that you're going to take any action. You know, because for instance, non-Black people are notorious for telling Black people, well, if you don't like something in America, you can go back to Africa. That's kind of like a threat. That's kind of like what they throw out, a challenge, you know, trying to be a bit provocative with you. Okay, number one, they don't think you're going to really take it up. They just want to be offensive. You know, and number two, they think you can't stand without the West. So if you do go, maybe you wouldn't have longevity. Maybe you got to come back. You know, if you believe in yourself, guys, and I mean, again, I stand before you as someone who has done exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, I believed in myself so much to the point that the lifestyle in the West was not good enough. It was absolutely unacceptable. You know, I mean, it's not just even non-Black people. It's even just the interaction with our peers. It's the outlook. It's the way that the future is going for those of our people in the West. It's so unattractive to me. And I thought to myself, I don't belong here. You know, it's very obvious to me I don't belong here. I know that I'm something and someone of value. I know that. I absolutely know that. So being mistreated is not an option that I'm going to make a perpetual element in my life, because it's not right. People should treat me right because of who I am and how I also treat them. You know, ladies, let's just say, let me see if anybody else came in here apart from Brown Coat Blue and he says so. Okay, thank God. Jarena Star's here. So we got 3. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. We got Superstar Bella. Okay. I'm starting to see a little bit more of the family because I don't know. The family was definitely not on code for the majority of this message. But I'm giving the message anyway. Because that's what I came here to do. So let's say that Jarena Star gets a 10-carat diamond ring. Okay, let's say Brown Coat Blue, he's tricking. He's like, yo, Jarena, I saw her last live stream. She deserves this 10-carat diamond ring. Okay. Now, Jarena Star, she's like me. She likes wearing cubics. She's like, hey, I like spending less money on jewelry. You know, bling blow. It looks the same. When you go to the club, it sparkles. It's all good. I don't need to spend lots of money on that rings, you know, jewelry. Okay. Now, Brown Coat Blue done bought her this 10-carat diamond ring, and it's real. It's a real diamond. Came from Harry Winston. Okay. Jarena Star's not about to treat that 10-carat Harry Winston diamond ring the way that she would her cubics. You know, she might even go out and get a safe and say, you know what, I need to put this thing up because it's so valuable. I don't want anything to happen to it. So, you know, that's how you have to look at yourself. Okay. You have to know that you deserve, you know, and it's not being arrogant. You know, some people get the fact that you require certain things in place as arrogance. I count myself to be a very humble person, you know, and I don't believe that my outlook or my requirements in life are extraordinary. I just expect, you know, the basic courtesies from society. But if I can't get that, you know, then I'm going to remove myself. I'm not going to let them keep on mistreating me. Okay. Because I'm a 10-carat, you know, $1 million African diamond ring or whatever. Allow me, just imagine me allowing someone to treat me like a cubic. Knowing, you know what I'm saying? I'm official. I come with the serial number. I come with the documents. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays they got these little ring boxes that have like LED lights. When you open it, the diamond just sparkles. That's me, fam. I can't let them treat me any other way except that way. And I find that out of all my world travels, I am most treated, you know, up to par here on the continent. You know, I'm safe here. I'm protected. I'm a part of a community. People, you know, treat me with a lot of respect. When I go out, I'm handled appropriately. You know, when I'm going for services, the people are polite. You know, I feel valued. I feel safe. I feel happy. You know, and in addition to that, me being myself is not suppressed. I talked about this on the dentist show. You know, me being the African superstar is promoted and enjoyed by my community. I don't go out and the Ghanaians say, well, you know, who does she think she is? You know, what's she doing here? We don't like the African superstar. We don't know. Matter of fact, the Ghanaian community has been one of the trailblazing communities to uplift me and sort me out. I'm, in other words, Ghana's sweetheart. You know, I live in a place where the people love me and I love them back. And it's amazing. You know, it's a stark contrast to living in a place where people hate you, people disrespect you, people are violent against you, people think you're worthless, people don't think you deserve anything, people are always trying to undermine you and be condescending. You know, that's how you live. And see, y'all got to understand, I'm almost done because I have just so much to say lately. Okay. You guys have to understand the power of the environment that you are placing yourself. Okay. You can't sit in water and not get wet. The fact that you're living in these environments, it is having a profound, probably psychological effect on you, because you are not able to live comfortably. Your mind is not free. You're incurring additional stress and maybe anxiety because of the environment that you're living in. You know, you guys want to know, you know, what is happening to diasporans when they get to the continent. They look so refreshed. Some of them lose weight. Their skin looks better. Their hair might grow. There's been situations where people have had health conditions that have gone into remission or completely healed up. You understand? Because the pressures that you have been dealing with on an everyday basis that you were normalizing, you know, the emotions that you just had to constantly suppress all the time. You know, that stuff, if you don't take it, if you don't express it, it starts having an internal toll on you. This is why I don't believe in forgiveness, because y'all acting like y'all forgave them. You didn't. You're just internalizing it and trying to deal with it in other ways. You know, they don't deserve our contributions. If you believe your contribution is special and people are not cherishing it, then whose fault is that if the situation continues? It's not the delegator's fault, because once the delegator shows you their perspective on it, you have the ability to approve or decline that perspective. Okay, somebody approaches me and says, Gina, I want you to do this and that for me. I have the option to say yes or no. Okay, it's then the ball's in my court. It's on my terms. Now, if I go to them and I say, hey, I want this opportunity, they have the option of providing me, okay, this is what you got to do if you want it. But if they come to me, you know, and again, I've already talked about, we are the lifeblood of these societies. Okay, we are the juice. We are the source. You know, the party don't get started. Nothing gets started until we come and we're there. Just to extract all of the Black people in the world out of all the things that they're participating in and allow them to function as is without our presence, we already know what it would be. We already know what it would be. You know, what would TikTok be? What would Instagram be? What would YouTube be? You know what I'm saying? What would the NBA be like? You know, what would the music world be like? You know, we're in so many things. Not acknowledged, not respected, not capitalizing off of our own talents. It's time to fight back with what you have, even if what you have is small. I can't fight the American government, but I did find a way to stop contributing to them. Okay? I don't like the way they treat me there, but I did find a way to remove myself from being in that situation. I didn't want to be a hashtag because I know they don't value Black life. So I removed myself and reduced my probabilities of becoming a hashtag because I'm not there. You have power. You may need to be creative on how to exercise it. But, you know, if you're not taking any action, then inertia. Okay? So big shout outs. Listen, big shout outs to, I think I had about 5 or 6 of y'all in the chat room today. So I want to give a big special shout outs to those of you that were on code and can follow simple directions. For the rest of you, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. All right. The future doesn't look bright when we have these kind of people. Please. I like an interactive channel. If you're not interactive, then I don't want you on my platform. Sorry. I'm just being honest. Because, see, I need to know who the hell's up in my chat room. I need to know. I want to know. Okay. I want to know. I want to know. So big shout outs to those of you that were here. And I hope you got something meaningful from this message. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. Until we meet again, stay Black and true. If you ain't Black, just stay true.